As you can tell, I've switched to another camera, and so I have to do a test anyways. I did a test on this camera. The nature of this video is what's with all the immigration? What's the core? What's the whole plan of this? And before I go ahead, I want to talk about my camera. So I've bought my, as you can tell, I'm suffering still from a kidney stone quite bad. I bought the camera that I used to have that I was having so many problems with. It was the it was a connection of, it's not my computer. It was I can't even think of words. Think of how bad that is in my mind. But anyways, this is my older camera, and I know it's not picking up sound as crisp and stuff, but I actually like this camera better. And I did a sound test, and it still doesn't sound like my older one when I was able to. Anyways, I had to play around with the volume, and this volume is at 100. So anyways, this is considered a top camera to use for a web camera anyways. So I'm really suffering from a kidney stone, guys, so bear with me. This is the longest a kidney stone has ever lasted for me. Pray for me, please. I got up 7 times to go pee in the night, so I know it's close to getting to where it needs to be. But man, the anxiety that this gives you is just amazing. An anxiety disorder of its own. So, what is this? What is going on when you take a deeper look and you don't focus on just a single country? Because isn't that one of the problems? They'll say, why is Canada, per population, why are they overloading them with so many people from India? Specifically India, why are they giving kickbacks to companies to take our jobs, literally? Not that I don't like these people, but this is our land. These are our children, right? So these things matter, but if this got flagged, this video would probably get pulled down somehow or whatever. One of the issues of this is that people are looking at single countries, and they're not looking at the whole picture. They're not looking at the whole picture. And so you have to go back to the beginning, right? You it's like follow the money type thing. Where did this start? Why did it start? Who started it? And I didn't do any research, guys. I just came up with what I know to be true, and have it in front of me here. But boy, man, some of the hardest times in my life right now. I remember. So this is a Western thing. This is a Western thing. I made a video detailing in fine detail everything from the point of immigration and illegal immigration to all the things around COVID. I detailed everything I knew. How it connected to her, how it connected to this. I made so many different connections, and they took my video down. And they warned me that they would take my channel away. If I did that again, they would do the same thing. I don't make videos that go that into detail. Maybe they wouldn't, but I know why they took that one away. It was a two-part thing. And I didn't do anything wrong in it at all. Obviously, we have countries who do not agree with Christianity. One is Muslim, one's Christian, one's atheist. And we know that, I gotta take those off, just get my stove. We know that China and Russia could not defeat the United States militarily, conventionally, and the same with China, and the same with North Korea and them. And you can see it in some of their KGB agents talking. I've seen them videos from the 1990s, early 1990s, where people who were deep within their intelligence system said what exactly they were going to do. I could find that video, and I'm going to put it. I'll put it in the description box. And he says, because we can't beat you militarily, instead of striving and trying to build just huge fields of tanks that will probably all get taken out by the States by advanced weapons, right? That type of thing. That it may take 20, 30, 40 years, but what we'll do is we'll infiltrate you from the inside. We'll start to put atheistic teachers in Christian schools, and you see all the doctrines now. They're communist. What's with this communist agenda? That's what all the LGBTQ, all of the Black Lives Matter, they don't actually care about us. It's to further an agenda. So they infiltrate the Catholic Church, they infiltrate all the churches, they infiltrate all the important positions. That's what they do. And then you start to notice things, 10, 20, 30 years, things become very loose. People, are not checking things anymore. And of course, not checking bad behaviors. People not speaking up anymore. And of course, the internet age has made us very lazy about these things. Because if we didn't have the internet, we would have people that would speak up. I know. So you and I can't say, oh, our grandparents or our parents would stand up here or there. They didn't grow up in what we're growing up in now. You understand? I forgot to take off the little lens on the front of that. Just like the brand new lens thing. It's okay. The picture's okay. There's one part of the theory. Okay, there's one part of the theory. I got to take a bite and I got to pace, guys. It really is that bad. So keep that in your mind, in the back of your mind as I keep speaking, that although Russia got taken down and all these things, do you think communism just died? Look at China. Look at the... Do you think it's any small thing that they're literally killing people in the West, especially in North America, Canada, and the States, with fentanyl and xylazine, those types of things? It's no small matter, is it? There's always a war going on behind the scenes that we do not know about. There's shadow wars going on. So if that was their plan, because we are a society that's free, it would be easier to strike us within the inside, right? And you could say you could try to break a communist country by sticking a whole lot of people who are Christian or something like that, but who would want that, right? And so I'll just tell you, this is a far jump away from what I'm just talking about, but that gives you kind of like a basis of possibilities, right? Of different possibilities. So I remember, my country, Canada, before Justin Trudeau, and still, we were known as being the one of the greatest places to live. one of the nicest people, right? Very kind, very respectful to people, and we still are, except for this changing world. And what was I getting at? We were known as a multicultural country, and we were. But it's quite evident that there's a world economic agenda. You think these elites are meeting for no reason? They have a plan. Do you remember in the desert, I think it was like in Arizona or something? It was within the last 5 years, those big white stones that they had in the desert, they were like the Ten Commandment-like stones. And they mysteriously vanished. You know what I'm talking about? Go research that. You could read on it, like, why did they appear in the first place? But, you know, to reduce the population to 500 million people is the theory that that's the way the earth would be the best. And so there was an agenda somewhere. So the first thing, so Canada was a multicultural country, but they've completely abused the system. And I'll be honest with you, I've seen many videos with this title. Our leaders 30 years ago, our leaders today, 30 years ago, they would be put in prison for at least 25 years for what they have done to entire society. Justin Trudeau, 60 years ago, may even be hanged. I'm not joking. Treason at the highest degree. This is what they've done. It reminds me, you know, the rulers stick up their heads, right? Take off the fetters of God, right? You know, he who sits in the heaven laughs at the things that they try to do. Not that the things are not hurting us and that God does not feel for us, but I definitely think one of the reasons this has happened to the West is because we have forgotten God. And I say in other videos, it may take hundreds of years before God does something. He sends his prophets, messengers, but it could be 50 years. And I think in this case, it was probably 50 years. That we started to fall away from God. A lot of lies, a lot of versions of a Bible, many different versions, many different denominations. Things just split up and the truth just gets ripped to shreds. I think God absolutely, listen, this is the heart of David. This is my channel. So God's involved in everything. And especially this. If we were a Christian nation for real, and we had kept the Bibles where they were, and, you know, at least had God on our minds every day in school and so on and like that, I don't think this would have happened at this time. But God knew what was going to happen, so I'm going to have to pace again. It's that bad. Pray, guys, that this passes today. I took away what I changed, I was eating potatoes, and those are high oxalates, and I believe that's what caused it. I've never had a kidney stone last this long in terms of how many days straight. It's just brutal. Still try to live my life though, but so I'm going to tell you the first thing that I noticed when I look back. Let me just pace here for a second. Can you imagine getting up 7 times in a night, man? Jeez. So, You guys remember the Syrian war, obviously. I think that was, what was that, 2014 or something? And remember, Barack Obama wouldn't intervene to help. And I do wonder if the prophecy was fulfilled of Damascus. I know what it says, and it looks like it could be a nuclear bomb. But when you look, it looks like Gaza. They look all the same. It looks like Dresden. It looks like those places. It looks like there's utter destruction. They lost about 450,000 lives. And because of that, people were displaced. A lot of millions. What was it, like 7 million or something? Maybe even more. Maybe a bit less. I don't know. Anyway, don't take me for these numbers, but there were millions of people. And then Angela Merkel of Germany was, I think, the first one to speak up because of this never-ending guilt that should go away, by the way, and it shouldn't be put on the people of today about World War II. It shouldn't. It should be taught, but it shouldn't. The guilt should not be put on them for those who didn't do it. She said, you know, people gathered as much. It was guilt of that. We'll take 1 million. 1 million. We'll take 1 million of you. Don't worry. We'll make sure they go home. And of course, people who have half a brain understand that's never going to happen. You know, Germany isn't small. It's big enough to certainly escape and be very hard to catch. I knew within time the crime rates would go up, and they did. And boy, did they ever. And then they gaslit us and everything about it. That's where it began. I won't talk further about the things that they did and that they continue to do in our countries. Very horrible things. I just remember Klaus Schwab saying, we have penetrated the Trudeau cabinet, right? Remember him saying that? Half the cabinet, which meant what? The Liberals? I have never in all my history, almost 50 years in Canada, seen anything like the Trudeau government. Before him was Stephen Harper, and our government was fine. We're one of the richest nations on earth. We have, per population, you know, you could say Canada has the most resources on earth. Wide variety, gold, platinum, tin, oil. We have just about everything. We have all the minerals, all those rare earth minerals. We have the highest, we have lithium, we have the highest uranium at 35%. The highest compared to that may be 5 elsewhere in the world. Crazy. It's at 30%. And he just destroyed our country. So I'm going to look at this. So it began with Angela Merkel. That's where I saw it. You know, I may be incorrect about where it began, but that's where you started to notice. We hear these World Economic, we hear what they say. You can read it on their website. They're not making it a secret because they wouldn't hit us all at once. It's like the frog in the slow boiling, right? They want to get us used to the idea of these things. And they lie and they gaslight us about things that are happening in our own country to the point where they're pushing people over the edge. So here's another part that's very important of what I think is all connected. All of this is connected. This is the end of time. These are the end of days. I don't talk about eschatology and all these things for nothing, and about who is the Antichrist and these things. So, all of a sudden, our world turns upside down with COVID. Who is it? Was it in a wet lab? Who a wet market, a bet, right? And they blame this and that. We know there's something wrong there. Was it the United States? Most likely. They were the ones who were doing gain-of-function research, even though Obama banned it. So they were doing their research in China, but they still do it here. You've probably heard a lot of these testimonies about, and they're still doing it now. How can we make a disease jump quicker to humans? Stupid idiots. So we go through all that. We see hundreds of thousands of businesses, 100,000 plus businesses go under just in the States. People are desperate. People are losing their jobs. People are killing themselves. It's brutal. It's likely a test run. You know my channel. You know the eschatology. You know all this. A dry run to see how people will react. Where I was, it was one of the worst places on earth. Listen, guys, I got myocarditis and a permanent gallbladder disorder, equal to a gallstone. Well, one reason I have trouble in these pictures now. Biliary hyperkinesia induced by Moderna. I thought I was going to die. That's not this video. The biggest wealth transfer that we had ever known to that point. Right? Isn't that what happened? Close the churches, open the liquor stores, let them gouge us. Grocery stores, Costco's, Facebook ads, Amazon, they all got rich. Social media got rich too, because of all their ads, because of all the things that they knew that we would be home. This took away from the people. Many people committed suicide and died. Many people became addicts, and domestic violence went up and all these different things. So they looked at us, they watched us, they studied us. You need passports to get certain places in Canada and other countries. Man, just horrible things. And so it was a massive jump of the poor getting poor and the rich. The rich have our money because they stole their livelihoods. This is what they've done. I'm not a communist, and I don't have that. I still have a capital type mindset, but no one should ever have over, I think, 10 million, 100 million. I just don't think it benefits. And if it was God's plan like he did for his people, in his law, he made very specific stipulations that would not leave, like, if you end up poor and on the street type thing, you could go and sell yourself to someone, and then that person would provide you the food. It wasn't meant so people could hit you and do all those things, but we're in a time when they're so unbelievably rich. And what happens to people when they become so powerful and so rich that they have nothing left to conquer? They just want power. Just let me paste and let me take a look at what I wrote down here. Put some arrows, one leading to another. And then what did they do next? As time goes on, things settle down. Everything you see that doesn't look right, all began, our world has not been the same. They keep coming out with things. Can you remember what Mexico government comes out with? They're going to show us proof that they have an alien carcass. You remember that? This is the type of stuff that they would put out. 3 Ayala's, all these different things. they're making us, they're toying with us and playing with us and causing distractions while they do things behind our back, pass new laws and do new things. So they got people used to spending all their money at these places while people try to rebuild their lives. You know, a lot of people try to rebuild their lives and stuff like that, and their businesses and stuff. You know, I started my little pure, you know, I do a thing on the side, pure beeswax candles. And it was starting to do well. And that was right around when COVID hit. And then people really were not starting to buy after that. I remember that. And I think social media got horrific. Everything got bad. I think people changed. And I think you know that too. We all changed in some way. I didn't, okay? I didn't change towards people in any way because of what happened during COVID, because I'm used to going through bad things in my life, in my previous life. But people who haven't, when they go through that, they change and they you know, very edgy people. That's, you know, that's what they've done. People aren't the same anymore today. They aren't. And I know by going door to door selling products. Give me a sec, guys. I try not to watch too many videos about, you know, I want to know the news about if Sweden or Ireland or these places are erupting, you know, because they're having their, you know, they're protesting because of the price of their gas, or Ireland, and because of the people who are in their country taking their jobs, it's the same with all the Western countries. It's the West. And so it's like at a fever pitch in Ireland, and that's just a picture of what could happen to all our different countries. And it makes me wonder if that's what they want. They want us to, first of all, they want us to believe that all these people who they've put and taken our jobs and done all these things, just think about it. 20 million people poured across the border in 4 years in the United States. Are you going to tell me that was not on purpose? There's an agenda. Just think of the types of people that came through there that want America destroyed. But what is their end game? What is this? Well, and I've spoken about this. I'm old enough to remember and feel anger towards it. This company leaving to Mexico or China or Vietnam and to an Asian, Malaysian country because it's cheaper for them to build their stuff over them, and their bottom line, every one of them is to get rich. The top elites. They're so evil. No matter if they make a company and they become so big, they're responsible for us. Even being a capitalist country, when they have the capacity to take away things that would regularly give you and I jobs, whatever their company is, they could take away 2 different aspects in life that would take it away from us. So like AI, robots, and those types of things. It's on them. It's on those elites to answer to us, the people, because you've taken away something very vital. I live here. Those are my gold mines too. I have a say in those gold mines. So or something like that, right? I know they can pay money and they can own that stuff, but something like that. Understand what I'm saying, right? Like someone who takes all the car market or something like that. Say they take all the car market, one person. There's like 3 top people in that company. They want to drown you out now, completely. If they can find a robot that will do it, they'll use that robot. And that's exactly what's happening. Technology has become so advanced that they're not only have they moved the factories over there, but over the years things get more advanced. They understand, oh, we can get kickbacks. Let's bring our company back over and let's bring those people from those countries over here. That's how evil they've become. To take our jobs from us. That was unthinkable. These people are treasonous. They're evil to their cores. And believe me, God hates them. He hates their actions. But it's like an Esau action. That's pretty greedy. That's the top level of greediness. If the internet didn't exist, none of this would be happening. Because you couldn't spread all your propaganda everywhere. And as soon as that connection goes, imagination begins. Do you understand? They want a hive mind so they can do all the things that they need to do behind our backs. So what is this agenda anyways? What is the end of this? They flood our countries with so many people so we cry out. Please help us. Please help us solve this problem. And that's not the whole spectrum of this problem. It's also, sure, maybe they do want people to come into our countries and we're not having as many kids and stuff, but our governments know full well that the reason we're not having kids is because of unaffordability. That, what was it? They have the ability to turn around and do the right thing and to bring companies back here to the point where things start to become affordable because you're actually doing things for the people. It's affordability, the ability to, like they're taking all of our homes. You can look in many different Western countries. They don't have enough homes anymore. The prices have skyrocketed. People who don't even have a say in our countries are taking it from us because of them, because of the elites. That's why we're not having kids, because we don't have prosperity, because we don't want to have a kid if we don't think we can afford them. So they want us to cry out to them so there's some type of answer. But they, the entire time, have the capacity to take all these people and put them back where they were, especially the bad ones. I still believe in a multicultural society that's vetted, that is investigated to make sure they're not a terrorist, they're not a criminal, and that they're going to join into society, and they are going to assimilate. They can practice whatever they want, but assimilate to be so they can function, and so they don't have their own enclaves, right? Isn't that what's happening? To have their own enclaves of people and cause horrific crimes. It's a satanic agenda. And what is the end goal? I just think it's like a Babylonian end goal. They want to blame it on immigration. They want to say immigration is the problem. But you know full well, if you have half a brain, that they have the capacity to get rid of them. When I say get rid of them, I say to put them back where they were. They want me to sound to you mean. Is what I'm sounding mean? If we reversed it and did it to countries in Africa and Asia, they would kill us. They would kill us. Make no mistake. So, a beast system. These people think they own the world. They do. They think they own the world. Silicon Valley guys. And all these meetings that they have at the World Economic Forum. It's a satanic agenda, you know. Don't forget that at the head of this is Satan. So, like, how it's going to fit exactly into the end, we're very close to the end. We'll see. One world religion. And I actually don't know, because you hear a lot of people say, like, especially in the States, but man, it's everywhere. France, man, they're attacking, like, they're wrecking things. They're burning places down. France, the UK, Ireland, Belgium, Germany, Denmark at one point, Sweden, Poland won't take them. I don't know what's going to happen with them, though. Canada, Australia, the United States. Canada is the worst of them in terms of how many people per population. Man, the numbers are so big. And because we have the internet, and because it consumes people all day long, they don't stand up. If we stand up anyways, we'll probably get our bank account removed or something like that. You saw that. That scared people. You know, we were the first people to actually stand up. Canada. Remember the trucker thing? Amazing. You know, if you were even just caught there, or if you were somewhere near, you know, if you were trying to coordinate it, to help coordinate a peaceful protest, and they'll tell you it wasn't peaceful, but it was. They like to gaslight us. That is one of their key tools now. You can see in the parliaments, and like I said, I've been interested in politics all my life. I still am. I like to see what goes on. But since COVID, as you can see, the internet is taken over by politicians. Everything's about them. It's just a paradigm, okay? Like, there is no left, right. You know, here's a problem, solution. Problem, solution. One side looks bad, one side looks good. But not to say there are not people who are good people in those systems, because there is. You just don't know. We as the people don't really know what's going on in such a deceptive time. But what I've seen is what they call filibustering, where, you know, someone like Pierre Poilievre in Canada would ask a question to Justin Trudeau. You can go look back at the parliamentary sessions. And you ask him a question, and he doesn't answer any of them, unless one really gets under his skin. They did that for 10 years. Like, what can you do? So we'll see. We'll see what the intended end of this is. It's the mark. But from where I speak now till that time, I guess we'll see. That's the part that I don't know. And I'm not claiming to have all the answers here, just what I've seen and what I've witnessed and what I assume. It's Ephesians 6, right? The people in high places, they become so evil, so greedy, so narcissistic. And that's all I know. I got to finish here, guys. Pray for my abdomen, please. I've never been hit this hard by a kidney stone. It really is that tough. Just pray that it would pass. And man, I need help. through prayer. Guys, God bless.